Steve from NorthEndWaterfront.com, and Phil Orlandella from the Regional Review. We also want to warn everybody that the fire alarm has been going off, so if you hear that, don't panic. We'll begin with a roll call.
Riccio.
Maria Landa.
Brian Kenny.
George Mendoza.
John Bregman.
Philip Frederoli.
And Devlin Toya-Farrell.
Jessica De La Russa.
Okay. And next, John Bregman will give us the meeting protocol.
This meeting will be conducted according to parliamentary rules. The President will have the final word on the conduct of the meeting and cast the vote only in the event the rest of the Council reaches a tie. The President will recognize the Speaker to make the presentation or a statement, and then he will permit the Council to ask questions. We will then open the floor to questions from the audience, and each audience member should introduce themselves by name and street address. No person will speak until they have been recognized by the President.
Thanks, John. Now for the reports from the offices of local elected officials. Do we have anybody representing?
Nicole Leo, Mayor Walsh's office. I'm going to be very brief tonight because the new Director of Neighborhood Services, Jerome Smith, is here tonight. So I will give most of my time to him. I just wanted to let you guys know Public Works gave me today the new trash and recycling guidelines. So I'm going to leave them by tomorrow.
Cool. Anybody else? Okay. Any reports starting with resident parking? Brian Kenny?
Nothing really new to report other than just a reminder that the Commissioner of the Boston Transportation Department will be coming to our meeting. I encourage anyone with resident parking or traffic issues in the North End to email NEWNC or approach me after the meeting. I'd like to have as many questions as possible before the meeting starts. Good conversation.
Thanks, Ryan. Public Safety Committee, David Marks isn't here tonight, so we're giving his report.
First thing to communicate is that the next public safety, North End Public Safety meeting is going to be on Thursday, October 2nd at 6:30 in the evening at the Nazaro Center. For a complete recap of what happened at September's meeting, please go to NorthEndWaterfront.com. I'm just going to briefly read a couple of notes that David wanted me to share with you all. Captain Fong of Area A, Boston Area A Police, and David conducted a 1 hour and 20-minute neighborhood walkthrough on August 19th, and they stopped and talked with the managers of various businesses, including CVS, Cafe Pompey, Boba's Bakery, and Panza. They chatted with Pat Mendoza outside of the Monica's Mercato. And David says that practically everyone we chatted with expressed their appreciation for the police presence in our neighborhood. Dr. Boba of Boba's Bakery said that things are quieter at his establishment during late night hours compared to just a few years ago. The owner of Panza highlighted the junkie issues plaguing the neighborhood still. In terms of record, 15 arrests were made in the North End in August, compared to the average monthly number of arrests, which is in the single low-digit range. This is an increase. Police patrols are held between 7:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock in the evening by, I think, Sergeant, I'm not sure, Billy Pillany. 4 o'clock in the evening to 11:45 by an Officer Roy. 11:45 to 7:30 in the morning by an Officer Jenna, and late night party patrol car while colleges are in session, and that patrol car will be in the neighborhood Friday and Saturday nights between 11:45 and 3:45 a.m. The North End is the only residential neighborhood in Area A1 with this walking police patrol. Lastly, Suffolk University is in the process of gathering local addresses via zip codes in order to determine how many of their students are currently living in the North End, and this process should be complete by the end of October.
Thank you, Jessica. Now, John Bregman, who's the Director on the Greenway Committee.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Go to the next slide there. So it's a little bit small up there, but rather than give an overall thing, I figured I'd highlight a couple events that are coming up this week on the Greenway and direct anyone that's interested to rosekennedygreenway.org, the website. They have a lot of things going on. Some of them are ongoing, so you can use the Google Calendar on the website to kind of get more details. But coming up, the mural down at Dewey Square Park, which was previously occupied by Matthew Ritchie. It was a black and white display. Before that, it was the little bit controversial one with the twins. That has been cleaned if you've been down that area, and they will be installing it starting today and running through the 18th. That is, you can also find more about this at rosekennedygreenway.org/visit/public-art/Shanique Smith mural. And she's also doing something on the Boston Calling block parties, which I'll get to in a few slides. This Thursday, as for 9/11, they're doing a Military Heroes Service Project. This is where care packages and other things are provided, or everybody's gathering and volunteering their time to give them to active duty members and veterans. And that's from 11 to 2 at the Mother's Walk in the Rings Fountain down by the New England Aquarium. And massmilitaryheroes.org is the website for that. Tomorrow from 6 to 9 at the Carousel with the rain date. The following day is Parked on the Greenway. This is unlimited carousel rides. There's a band, pizza, some soda, drink tickets. That's $30 if you buy it before 5 tomorrow, and $35 at the door. There's a link on the slides that I'll provide. It's a long URL, so I'll just give it to our website, and you can access it there. But that's tomorrow night. And then again, as I mentioned, the Boston Calling block parties, which have been going on throughout the summer, on Thursdays. This one in particular, on the 18th. I'm sorry, I have to see if the date is correct, but it's 5 to 8 at Dewey Square Park, where you can meet the artist where the design of the new mural is taking place, as well as the people that will be painting it, and the MFA Senior Curator of Contemporary, Jen Merkel, will all be there, so you can meet them, and that's free of charge. The Boston Local Food Festival is also returning. That's Sunday, September 14th from 11 to 5, and you can find more information there at bostonlocalfoodfestival.com. And then I just wanted to, again, we've talked about this throughout the summer. The public markets are still going on. We have the one in the north end, your Haymarket on Blackstone Street, that's been going on, which is also taking place in Dewey Square. Again, you can go to the website called bostonpublicmarket.org. And then the Greenway Open Market is continuing through October 11th. That's every Saturday, and that's in the Wharf District Parks, a little bit down the Greenway between State and India Streets. The next slide, please. And then just other things that are going on. The Carousel, of course, is open daily, and it will be as long as weather's permitting throughout the fall. The Park Ranger program and mobile eats have been going on. I believe in July, I mentioned that we were starting the process of Park Ranger. We were hoping to have people that were representing us on the Greenway for the Park Rangers in July. There's been some, it's taken us a little bit longer than had anticipated, so we're still looking to interview and hire people for that. The Rings Fountain, as I had mentioned, is operational. They did some repairs, but that's going. And our next Board of Directors meeting is Thursday, October 7th, from 5:30 to 7 at the regular Greenway meeting. We went off-site last month, but it's back at the MassDOT Center on Nealon Street. And that's, of course, open to the public, so I invite everyone to attend. And then again, just rosekennedygreenway.org for other information. And also with Matt Conti's website, northendwaterfront.com, if you search the Greenway, a lot of information will appear. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Before I acknowledge Ken for his vote, any announcements?
No.
Those are the formalities, and we can begin with the agenda. First thing is Jeremy Smith, the new director of the Office of Neighborhood Services. Welcome.
Bill, members of the council for having me here tonight. My name is Jeremy Smith. I am Mayor Walsh's Director of Neighborhood Services. I work with Nicole at City Hall. I work for Nicole at City Hall. I've been working since Mayor Walsh since May 5th. I started with him. Before that, I was Chief of Staff to Senate President Murray up at the State House for a number of years. And then back to my city time, I was Chief of Staff for City Councilor Mike Ross. And before that, I worked with Nicole, and I was the South End Coordinator in Neighborhood Services. So I've kind of been with the city, with the state, back to the city. So I just wanted to come out. I'm actually doing a couple rounds, so a lot of neighbor associations, and Nicole had grabbed me to see if I can come out and speak with you guys. I know that the mayor is very excited about a number of things that we're doing around the neighborhood. One of the new things that we're kicking off, I'm not sure if anybody saw in the papers, is we're going to be doing neighborhood engagement walks. With this day and age of technology, Nicole will be armed with an iPad that's going to put all the city services that when you normally call 4500 or call Nicole, what they enter into the database on the computer, Nicole will now have on her iPad. She's going to be doing walks, and by all means, we'd love for everybody, when we get your streets, to come out with her and just point out anything you can think of that you think the city should fix, whether it's a broken street pole, missing tree pits, you want to do restriping of your streets, missing bricks. I mean, we're doing a complete and total city audit of all the streets. There's 850 miles through the whole city, so if you guys want to put on some sneakers and walk with us, we would love to have you. But this is just a way for us to change the way that we engage residents. We're doing a number of things to change the way that we engage residents. Normally, City Hall has been reactive to when you guys call. We feel as though we should be proactive and start taking steps to actually do things. We all know that you guys have busy schedules and busy lives, so we should do more to get the city to come out to you and be proactive and kind of get ahead of some of these issues. Besides that, we're also doing civic academies. We had a successful civic academy at District Hall over in the South Boston waterfront, where we taught some neighborhood associations who weren't that knowledgeable about it on how to use social media and leverage social media to get their message out and do meetings and advertise and promote. We're thinking about doing another one with small business, to teach small businesses about pulling permits, how to expand their businesses. So we'll be setting that one up soon, and we're going to be doing one in the environment. So what the mayor wants to do with these things is to try to get out and, again, bring City Hall out into the neighborhoods to have these larger meetings and engagements with citizens and actually teach them what City Hall can do for you. And more often than not, some of these programs, you wouldn't know existed because they're in a department until you phone call them in. So we're trying to do these things where we actually bring more things out to you. Another thing that has caused some questions about that I wanted to come on and talk to is about my office's abutters meetings. Let me just be very clear that our abutters meetings do not supersede the neighborhood associations and the neighborhood council's processes. They are separate. City Hall does not want to engage in your process. We don't want to tell you how to do your process, what your bylaws are, what your rules are. Your process is your process. What we have heard through the mayor, through the campaign, and also on the other side, is that some residents don't have time to attend neighborhood association meetings, but they care about what's going on next door to them. And they have every right to engage and access their government in any ways it means. So what we decided to do is what we would have an abutters meeting, and we chose, I'm sorry, hang my back to everybody. So we chose this 300-foot, because that's typically what ISD has been doing over at ISD, about 300 feet around the site of the location of a project. And we go out and we flyer and kind of get more residents who may not be active in neighborhood associations to come out and just say, what do you think about this building? Or what do you think about someone putting something here? Or what do you think about that? And it's just a way to kind of engage residents, because we feel as though if we can get those residents who aren't as engaged like you are, who attend regular meetings, maybe they will start getting more engaged when we start reaching out to them and getting them to do things. All the neighborhood association presidents are invited to attend the abutters meetings, and that's another way for someone to say, hey, I've never seen her before, she seems active, why don't I introduce myself, and then you can pull her into your association. So these are things that Mayor Walsh is doing to try and engage more residents, to get more residents active, because we feel there are some neighborhoods who do it really well, and there's some neighborhoods who don't do it so well, so we're trying to engage them across the board. So those are some of the things that we're doing. But I just wanted to come and say some exciting things that we're doing. The neighborhood walk, I will be in the North End at some point. I'm going to try and hit every neighborhood, all 150 miles. It'll be very interesting to see how I can get that accomplished. But I'd also like to see any questions. If anybody has any questions, I don't know how much time I have.
Yeah, we have time. You guys want to start with the council? Anybody in the council have any questions?
I do, actually. When it comes to all that, you were talking about instructing businesses and local small businesses on how to go through the permitting process. The same thing probably applies to construction projects.
Yeah.
I know in this neighborhood alone, there's always projects going on, whether they're run by small businesses or people who are developing their property. And I know from personal experience and from the experience of others, that it takes an extremely long time to get through the process. And we meet nothing but obstacles. The reason why businesses apply for permits is to grow their businesses. Growing a business is good for all of us. It's good for the neighborhoods, it's good for the city, it's good for employment, it's good for tax revenue. The same thing with improving property. When somebody improves a piece of property, the city can reassess that property, can raise more money in taxes from it. It improves facilities for people who are renting and so forth and so forth. I mentioned that to the mayor while he was campaigning, and what are we doing about it? How is, for example, City Hall and also the inspection services building, 1010 Massaf, going to restructure itself so it becomes a place where people are not afraid of going to, where people are going to and are getting their questions answered, and are moving on and having those projects expedited. So, construction projects, expansion of businesses don't fall under the traps of the economy, changes in banking, the discontinuation of lines of credit and so forth. It's a huge handicap, and it does not help anyone. I have a project right now that I've been waiting for almost a year to get them going.
Those are actually good questions. So, funny enough, I actually sit on the working group that's working on this. So, Inspection Service Department, we all know has been a big challenge. Sorry, got my back. Is a big challenge for a lot of business owners, and quite often, even when you finally get to the ZBA case, you have to wait like 90 days in order for you to get your permits. Meanwhile, you're paying for your leases, you're paying for all that, and it's just money coming out of your pocket. So one of those quick things that the mayor has done was we set up on a Thursday night. We had set up this kind of express ZBA. And so that will handle all your takeout licenses, the owner-occupied 1 and 2 bedrooms, and small business issues. So it'll be the same typical process where you'll be notified, they'll have to come before you guys. It's just we take it away from the Tuesday. The Tuesday, which you guys are normally traditionally used to, will be the larger projects, the BRA projects, the big kind of issues that really have to tackle. And we're going to pull away, if someone wants to put a deck on their house or some, the takeout license. We want to put that to Thursday night to kind of separate the two, to kind of make these things move faster. Once we do that, we're also looking at zoning. The mayor right now is also looking at changing the zoning in South Boston. The family just finished, so we're going to do South Boston. And so we want to look at the zoning and then also talk about business districts versus residential districts. So that is going to be another way. So in the business district, we may be able to take away some of the burden of what you have to jump through in the ZBA by rezoning a business district. But being aware that when we touch, such as the North End, you have residences above the business district. So that's stuff that we have to figure out, and we're in the process of figuring out. And then as far as like permitting, we hear you loud and clear. We are adding more staff, more computers. We're trying to get rid of the whole using the typewriter, more things that are user-friendly, and trying to be able to kind of streamline that. And actually the mayor has, the small ZBA thing has spun out from his having conversations with individuals like you, trying to pull apart the kind of the messiness of Inspection Services Department. And so there will be more to come on that front as we roll it out.
Something else to look into is that there is an eagerness to issue violations, but there isn't an eagerness to grant permits to upgrade property. So it's easy to give somebody a violation, okay, and then the burden is on the citizen, which usually it's got to be done in a timely manner. The permitting, there's no burden on government in the same timely manner. You guys have a 30-day response on 1010 Massaf building permits. That never takes place.
We're looking to speed those up.
Okay.
The back end, the law department, that's going to be our hardest tackle. Most applicants don't realize that once they get past the ZBA, they think they can go right to ISD, they can get their license, and then they realize that no, they can't. They have to wait for that. Because then what happens is that residents can challenge you in Superior Court, so there has to be that 90-day. I don't think we can get at that, but we can get at the other stuff earlier on.
Yeah, but once you add that 90-day to everything else, you're talking about ES.
That's why we wanted to try to get rid of the earlier stuff, because there's some stuff.
90 days is a quarter of a year.
Yeah.
So if you want to make it sound dramatic, it's a quarter of a year wasted waiting for stuff.
Yeah, so that's stuff that the 90-day we can't touch, but we can definitely help you out on that front end stuff. 20 days. 90?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 20 days. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, I just wanted a quick confirmation. The neighborhood engagement blocks are open to any citizen in that neighborhood, or you said in that immediate area?
Everybody.
Streets in the
Anybody. Nicole will blast out to you guys and let you know what streets. It's kind of be like old-fashioned campaigning where she's gonna grid, like foot grid, like door knocking. So she'll break up the North End into sections, and she'll say, hey, I'm going to be at this section starting at this time, come with me. A pack of 100 might be tough to walk through the streets of the North End, but
it can be shared.
More the merrier, come on in and point things out. Because we really want to do a real audit about what is actually out there. Because we do typical maintenance of things, and so we are actually out there catching things, but we really want a deep list of things that you guys want to have addressed in the neighborhood.
On that audit, I'll just do a story on it. It says you're going to develop an app or something with a computer so anybody can tap in and can see the results of that.
So the app that we're using is Citizens Connect. You can already use it on Android and iPhones or on Apple products. What I meant by it is they're going to have a story map is what we're calling it. So on the city website, once we start getting out there, a map is going to appear. We haven't decided whether it's going to be on my office's webpage or on the mayor's webpage, but there will be a map, and you'll be able to click on your street, and little pins will pop up, and then you highlight a pin, and ultimately we want a picture of the before and a picture of the after with the information of when it was taken, how long, where it is in the process, so that you guys can see where we are with each case that we put in there.
Question about the voters meetings.
Yep.
Is there going to be like a disposition reach on your end, or is that how you're going to determine if the mayor?
It's just to bring information back. So that's, your meetings are definitive. Nicole says the council is in support. No, I don't, you guys do no position? Nicole will come back and say, this is what your decision is. And then NEWNC, she'll say what that decision is. And then she'll say, my butters meetings, I had 6 to 10 people in support, I had 4 to 5 people in opposition, and then if there's like petitions and letters, we take all that information into consideration and before we make our decisions.
Have you guys given any thought to the logistics of the butters meetings, especially in the north end? Right now we have CLC meeting that applicants need to go to, NEWNC meeting, a NEWNC meeting, and now a 4th meeting, which is a 4th night out of people's months, busy schedules. It's not only another burden for applicants, but as well as the butters who want to come out here and have their voice heard. I mean, one suggestion might be to have these butter meetings on location, either the night of the CLC meeting, your meeting, NEWNC meeting prior, and they could come here, talk maybe for a half hour.
I think we're open to having any sort of those conversations, but we will continue to have butters meetings. So however you guys think it's best. Some neighbors are different. Bay Village has spoken with us. They want to go first, so Jordan schedules hers after theirs. So we're open to how you guys, when you think the timing of our meetings should be. When Nicole we'll continue to have butters meetings.
Hi, I'm Ford Cavallari. I'm the Vice President of NEWNC, and I wanted to ask you a question about jurisdictional lines of neighborhoods. And I ask this question because we appreciate, the fact that you started the process on the butters meetings and your comment about letting the 2 council and residents association do their thing. But one thing that we feel a little bit blocked on is redress of ill-chosen jurisdictional lines. And the example that I'm going to put right out on the table is TIAs. An establishment that affects North End residents, if there are issues of TIAs, will be NEWNC and NEWNC that get all of the feedback. Yet, somehow, it's because of an arbitrary line between VRA and park-owned land, it falls in the Wharf District Council area. And we would like to sit down with your office, since I think you've expressed a preference to the code that you guys want to make these decisions. We would like to make a case that this is, it's a redress of something that went wrong.
I'm going to stop right there. I'm not discussing neighborhood boundary lines. It's not our place. So I'm aware of the issue with TIAs. I've also heard from the Wharf District Council about their concern about TIAs. You guys need to figure that out. As far as we're concerned, they're in the Wharf District Council. We'll hear from that. If you guys have complaints about TIAs, funnel them in. We'll send code enforcement out. We'll send the police out. We will bring owners in to meet with Patricia Malone to talk about the noise. We will address your concerns as residents, but we ourselves will not be we are not in the process of discussing boundary lines.
So you don't?
No.
But on that case, I understand the boundary line, all right? But we are the citizens who afford ourselves a government, and we would like the government to involve us in the process.
We will hear your concerns. If you have a problem with TIAs, if you have consumer affairs and professional licensure, we'll bring the owner and bring his license before the board. We will send the police, we will send code enforcement to issue violations. The mayor's office and my office will not decide boundary lines between neighbor associations. That's you guys.
Let me ask you a question. How does the government decide to pick a, let me put it this way, the North End waterfront expands from here to Harvard Tower? I'm just asking you a simple question.
Yep.
Simple question. Can we define another district within a square.
I can give you an example.
apartment
In Dorchester, they have a neighbor association, and in the middle of it, another neighbor association formed. We are not getting in the middle of it. You are all residents, and these are your personal, private neighbor associations. The city will recognize an organized body of individuals.
Yeah, but this is not two organized bodies of individuals, it's a government of individuals, a body of individuals and a body of government, because the Wharf District does not have anything to do with residents.
The Wharf District does. They have harbor towers, they have residents that live across the way on Central Street, and they have other residents that live on the harbor. They are residents. So again, I'm sorry, this is not the answer you guys are looking for, but we will not get involved in neighbor association boundaries.
Any other questions?
Well, actually, not a question. Victor Bronya, Atlantic Avenue. It's not a question, not a complaint, but a suggestion.
Okay.
That I think may fit into your abutters meetings focus on, and suggested to me when you said you were notifying abutters or residents or properties within 300 feet. This is a suggestion I made to the previous administration, which was not taken up, which is in Cambridge and in Somerville, at least, and perhaps in other cities and towns, when an application, an appeal is made to the Board of Appeals by virtue of what an ordinance, a sign goes up on the building. And the size of the sign and the content of the sign is specified in the ordinance and when it should go up and so forth. So that people walking by, people in the neighborhood, people walking by can see that there has been a zoning appeal filed and...
kind of like the notice that
yeah,
we sent out.
and a brief detail of what it's all about and when the meeting is going to be. It seemed to me, eminently logical. It did not resound with the previous administration. If you'd like to send me the stuff, I'd be very glad to do so.
I will take that back. That's actually something that we talked about doing internally about, because, you know, sometimes construction sites, I knew one of the new things is now there's a sign that tells you who's doing the construction work with a phone number. So there has been conversation, but then there, I'm just telling you what we haven't decided yet, but the other side was, what is the cost to the owner, like how big the sign, how much is it to produce the sign, and then
paper.
what if it's the resident? Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I want you to know that we're talking about it. I think it's a good idea, but I definitely bring it back. That was brought up
Do
here.
you know about it? Do you know specifically the Cambridge and Somerville have it? And
No, I didn't know.
I have the Cambridge ordinance. If you'd like to have it, or you can find it, but I'd be happy to give it to you.
Yeah, no problem.
Can I ask you a question, Victor? Who posts the sign, the city or the landlord? Or
The property owner, I believe, but the requirements, I think they're not complicated, they're very clearly set out. It should be this size, and the height should be this big, and it should say.
And we want to get at the, you know, right now we're also dealing with over at the, it's happened a couple of times in East Boston, I'm not sure if it's happening in the North End, where the notices that go out from ISD haven't hit the owners. And so we've had a number of people who said that they were never notified of a project. So we're trying to get at also, by law, we must mail the landowner, but then we never hit a tenant, we never hit a renter. So quite often renters, you know, they could be a long-time renter. And so we want to try to get at them as well, to find a way to notify them of the project. So it's just kind of tougher to get at renters than it is the landowner, so it's something that we're also looking
A
at.
sign on the building will get to rent very easily.
It might. I think it might be a good idea.
One more question, and I have...
Hi, Matt Conti, NorthEndWaterfront.com. Will these new meetings that you're talking about be open to the public, the press, and subject to the open meeting law?
The butters meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out in front. They're out on the sidewalk in front of whatever the building.
So how do we find out about them?
We had two.
Are they posted in advance according to the
We sent out the
open?
letters. I can start sending you them.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can post them on our
Please
website.
do. I appreciate that.
Final question is, whose onus is it, the notification? Is it ONS or is it the developer or the business?
We try to put it on the owner.
So what we've been doing, sorry, I'm interrupting.
Go ahead.
What we've been doing is, for instance, Melina is proposing to open up a spin studio at the garage site on Hannah Street. So when Billy and Melina wrote their letters for these meetings, they added the abutters meetings to that notice. So that's how they got noticed on this.
But our isn't 300 feet, it's less than that, so...
Yours is very extensive.
No, 300 feet, no, greater. We're across the street. in either side and beside the ones that are
We do
beside.
300 feet because ISD does 300 feet, so we figured as a city.
It's not like the DRA stuff in the DRA notified, it's not up in mail.
No, we require the developer to do it.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you guys for having me, I appreciate it.
Next up is the Waterfront Cafe, 450 Commercial Street, Rocco Zingarella. Patrick Troy representing him.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm here on behalf of Rocco Zagarella, who's president of the Zag Cafe. My name is Patrick Troy. My office is on 107 Union Wharf, so I work in this neighborhood and I frequent these businesses as well. I'm here on behalf of Rocco for two particular reasons. The first of which is a restriction on his liquor license. These are issues that we addressed with your association as well a while ago. It's the same issues that are live and we haven't fully addressed them yet. That restriction is that alcohol only be served with food. It's a restriction that's appeared in his license for some time, but it's been difficult to deal with and it gets worse and worse. You can imagine if you own restaurants and know people that do it, the first thing they do when they sit down is you hand them the menu and they order a drink and they think about what they want to eat. But that restriction prevents that. It also prevents them from serving, in fact, operating late night. His kitchen shuts down at 11 o'clock. He's forced, obviously, to do that to give his chance for the fans to cool down and the kitchen to close down properly. And therefore, if someone walks in at 11 o'clock, they will not be able to have a drink because the kitchen is closed at that point. There has been an occasion where he's been cited for that, so it's been an issue, and it affects his business. And he's here asking that this board consider endorsing that restriction being removed from the liquor license in that regard. The second issue that we're here for to address, the same issue that we appeared in front of the WRA previously for, is an increase in the capacity. His official capacity is 49 people. In fact, the premises could physically hold more than that, but that's been the capacity for some time. He'd like to obviously max out the capacity. It's a family-run business. It's a well-run business. A lot of people here are actually familiar faces and in support, I believe in support of this idea that the capacity be officially increased. There has been an application in front of the ZBA. Board of Appeals. That hearing has been backed up, obviously, until we had a chance to appear in front of this board to address that as well. He'd like to increase it to 83 persons. I know when we appeared in front of your board last time, we suggested 99. That was approved. It appears from an architect's rendering that perhaps 83 is more appropriate. So that's the number that's going to be presented to the ZBA, and that's the number we hope that the board endorses. There'll be no change to the physical layout. As far as I can tell, no change to the hours of the business, no change to the signage, no change to the menu, other than just the official increase in capacity so that he doesn't run the risk of being obviously over capacity if more than 49 people go in that place when the place can hold more than 49 people, and in fact has more seats than that currently.
What's the number of seats there?
I think there are probably 70 seats, but the official capacity is 49. I believe there's 14 or 15 bar stools. There's a number of tables and benches where a random number of people could probably occupy the same bench. But the official capacity remains 49. We'd like to have it increased to 83 and also remove that very restrictive limitation on the liquor license, which I think is outdated. I think a lot of people had that at one time, and the licensing board is probably inclined to clean those up, but I do think it's appropriate to bring it in front of this board as we did the previous board and hope that that idea is endorsed.
What's the closing hour on the business?
It is 1:30.
1:30 stop serving at 1. Any questions from the board?
I have a couple of questions. Are you planning on making any structural changes to the premises to accommodate the extra people?
I don't believe there's any structural accommodations are necessary. I do believe the architect's rendering of the plans submitted to the ZBA had a proposed bathroom if necessary. But this is a family-run business, and I am certain that he'd like to increase his capacity so far as he can without him costing them extra money. So I don't believe there's going to be any structural repairs necessary.
What about code?
If the code requires changes to the exits or entries or a bathroom, all those would be complied with. I think the architect rendering did suggest that the handicap bathroom is necessary. It's obviously something he complied with, but this is a family-run business and money
Most
is...
businesses, yeah, are family run.
I understand, so I'm hoping this business is at least sympathetic to that idea that if you don't have to spend money to increase capacity, that
But I
would
don't
be
think
his
that's
choice.
the equation. I don't understand how is that's the equation. I mean, you know, how many people you can show an employee doesn't mean that you don't have to be cold, you know?
I understand that. I don't think it's suggesting it's the equation. I'm just suggesting if you can do it without spending money on a hand.
No, what I'm asking is, if we say yes, how is the government going to say, yes, we're not going to apply the code to you, we're going to apply it to everybody else for sitting in a different number of people? My understanding is occupancy is based on the number of people you sit in the facilities, you have to handle those people. That's what I'm asking. I mean, which angle are you coming from where you're going to hit the government with something that doesn't apply to anybody else, it's going to just apply to you?
No, the architect rendered plans discuss a handicap bathroom for 83 capacity. I think that's what they're going to require. That's the plans that were presented to this board. But if for some reason the zoning doesn't require that, the government doesn't require a handicap bathroom with an extra cost, then I don't want the board to make a conditional vote with just that plan. I want them to consider increasing capacity so far as...
Yeah, I don't think we make votes on code, you know, I mean, we don't decide on code. I mean, believe me when I tell you, I'm on your side on what you need and what you don't need, but we don't make decisions on code. The government does, you know, so I don't know how our board can be any helpful. You can only in code.
So these bathrooms that are on this plan are not current, what's currently there?
There are 2 bathrooms in the back. I think the plan is just...
So there's not a handicap bathroom there?
There is not. There would have to be a ramp installed or a third bathroom created, carved out of existing seating.
So
Is the bathroom you have here? That's the handicap bathroom you have on the drawing right here?
Yes.
So your argument is that you don't think you're going to need to put that in for existing bathroom?
That's what Mr. Zagarello is hoping, but in the event it is required, that's the plan that's been submitted to the ZBA for approval.
So we can only approve the plans that you...
That's the plan that I asked you to vote on.
You guys said that you have an occupancy right now, how many?
49.
And you have 70 seats already in the place?
Well, it's benches, so it's not all seating.
Any other questions?
Do you consider this business a bar or a restaurant?
Restaurant.
And your liquor license, when you speak of a liquor license, what kind of license do you have?
It's beer, wine, and portions.
Any other questions?
Do you plan to sell this business?
No, my understanding is you'll never sell this business. This is a family business that is wife and children work for or inherit something.
Would you consider it 70 seats? 49 to 70?
If that's what this board is inclined to do, I think he'd ask that you ask for the petition and the architect plans up before you, which is 83, which is what's going to go in front of the ZBA.
Any other questions? Any butters here? Sir, what's your name? Where do you live?
My name's Joe Crenane. I live at 22 Henderson Street, about 120 feet from the Waterfront Cafe. Enjoyed having a restaurant there. It provides somewhat of a difference in menu selections with, it's not, I love my Italian food. They have a few other things. I admire the way they run their business. Every morning they have a couple of ladies out front scrubbing down the sidewalk. It's one of the few operations I go into in the North End where they have a man at the door checking IDs with some sort of computer scanner machine. And they take a great pride in their business. And I think it's frustrating too for some people where they're kept out waiting on the sidewalk when I'm inside and I clearly see that there's room that, you know, they could be accommodated. So they've been a very good neighbor, so I wanted to come and support. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Tim Bankston. I'm also on Henchman, basically almost above waterfront. And I just wanted to come and support. I patron, a couple times a week, and there's never been an issue with like noise or anything like that. I walk by them every day. I just wanted to come and support them.
Bales? Sir?
Jerry Esposito, 15 Henchman Street, lived there my whole life. It's one of the best landlords I've ever had, abutting me. I can't say enough about it.
Anybody else?
Elizabeth Martin, 19 Henchman Street. I've been in the neighborhood about 5 years, and I keep some really crazy hours. I walk by the Waterfront Cafe at any time of the day, and there's never any issues. There's never any trash or anything on the street, and I support him in his expansion.
Sir?
My name is Jack Shea, and I live on Commercial Street, with the Henchman. I have absolutely the utmost respect for the way that place is run. I've never seen a bar or restaurant done the way that they do it. It's a wonderful place to be. It's wonderful. I never hear any noise. Thank you.
My name is Bill Pomfrey. I live on 464 Hanover Street. I've known Rocco for 10 years. And his business is awesome. He provides a great service to everybody in the neighborhood, a sports bar, and he caters to everybody, and it's awesome. You'll be doing an in-service if you don't do what you got to do. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Just a question, do you have a hearing date?
I believe it's October now. It was September this week. October 17th. It did get backed up until October, I'm not certain.
Nicole is checking.
Might be the 21st. I can get back to you.
I can email it to you.
While she's checking, is there a, I mean, obviously you want to remove the restriction with the food because of, increasing sales and things of that nature. But is there a way to just increase the capacity without moving that restriction? I mean, we've had a common issue in this neighborhood is the amount of liquor licenses, how they're drawn, and I mean, I frequent the Waterfront Cafe as well, I'm sure, and confident that he's a good landlord, but I think that that's something that always comes up. Is there a certain reason why that has to be done together?
I don't think that has to be done together. I think it's more efficient to handle both at the same time in meetings such as these. I think they're equally as important. I think the restriction on liquor license relative to food and alcohol is a real restriction in this neighborhood. And others, I think if you're limited in selling alcohol when someone sits down or after they finish a meal, at the risk of having a citation and being lugged in front of a liquor board because someone had a series of drinks after the meal or ordered a couple of drinks and then decided not to eat, to run the risk of having a citation is dangerous as a license holder as well. I think it's a factor of making money, but also retaining your license and staying in good standing.
Have you had any violations on that front?
There was a citation that prompted us from going in front of the Waterfront Residents Association where officers came in late night, just a random check, and saw a couple of people sitting at the bar with a couple of beers in front of them, no food, the kitchen had closed, and wrote them a citation. And I think it's a slippery slope to say you can do that when the kitchen closes, but if you close the kitchen at that time because you have to, effectively you have to stop serving alcohol at that time and you remain open with no ability to sell food or alcohol for the last hour and a half, which is silly.
Any other questions?
Any other violations?
To my knowledge, there's been a violation of
You know what the violations are, so you can speak about them?
I'm trying to think that I'll be happy to speak about them. The violations relative to the malt and cordial definition, where distributors are shipping products that aren't labeled, and sometimes they put them on the shelf because the distributor tells them to, and they think the alcohol content applies, and they don't. And there's been one violation where they said that a bottle of vodka was sold that wasn't properly flavored. That's been, I think, those were 2 violations in the one with alcohol and no food in front of them. I think it was either a warning or a citation. That's my memory of the last couple of years. He runs a good business, he doesn't have a lot of violations. He tries to keep him at capacity and comply with the license, but he's in front of this board to ask that the restriction be removed and the capacity be increased.
Yeah, Jim Salini of Charter Street. As I recall, we were sensitive to the late night issue. since you're open 3.5 hours after, 2.5 hours after the kitchen closes. We were not sensitive to someone coming in and ordering a drink and then deciding not to eat or having 2 drinks. That would apply to every restaurant in North End, so we were not sensitive to that. If someone orders a drink and then doesn't order food, I don't think you can give them another drink. You basically have to tell them that they have to order food or they can't have another drink. Or else everybody can ask for that, and we're not going to approve it.
Any other questions from the board? Somebody want to make?
I live in the North End on Commercial Street.
What's your name?
Dan Connolly. I work at the corner of North Washington Street and Causeway Street. I work 3 to 11. I walk home at 11 o'clock. By the time I get to Mr. Zagarella's place, it's probably about 11:15. Sometimes I'm hungry, sometimes I'm not. I'd like a drink or something as I arrive. At 11 o'clock, if his kitchen is closed, I really have no choice whatsoever of either continuing down to go someplace else or going home. It's very convenient for me, and that's why I'm here tonight.
What time is the kitchen closing?
Well, it's typically 11 o'clock.
If I may, my name is Joanna Fell. I live on Charter Street. I am a patron of the Waterfront Cafe. I understand the neighborhood's concern about drinking and noise coming out of bars late at night. I have to tell you, the way that this restaurant is managed, they keep a very close eye on what people are doing, what kind of capacity they are when they come in. They will not serve, they will kick people out, they will refuse entry. I don't think that their current restriction is appropriate.
What I think is difficult to understand here is, I think that most of us don't know, what are we talking about? We're talking about a restaurant, we're talking about a bar, we're talking about a sports bar. A sports bar. No. Well, no, but we're talking about bar service. I mean, if you receive a license and you're going to serve food or alcohol, and you close the kitchen at 11, you're pretty much closing your restaurant down at 11. So, I mean, those are the questions that I have. How is it that we're talking about? I'm confused what we're talking about. You know, it's a bar, we're talking about liquor license, we're talking about beer and wine, we're talking about the restrictions that they have, the same restrictions that all the Italian restaurants have in the neighborhood. They want us to serve food with beer and wine, and just, and cordial. It's just a stickler that, archaic law, new law, Puritan law, whatever it is. But every restaurant in North End has the same one. If it is a restaurant, now if you are a bar, you have a full liquor license, some restrictions can be put on that liquor license, but there are different restrictions too. So I'm just not getting the full picture.
It is a restaurant. It has a bar in it. It employs 5 chefs or 5 cooks full-time. He does have a bar and a late-night crowd, and it's probably on in actuality on the line between a restaurant and a bar, but it serves a dual purpose at a certain point. That's why he's looking to remove that restriction. I think it's his limitation at the end of the night really affects him. It affects him in regards to competitors. It affects him in regards to having a citation given to him. Effectively, the restaurant would have to shut down at 11 o'clock, whatever the kitchen closes. But if the restaurant shut down at 11, the kitchen would have to close at 9:30 to cool the fans down. And then it's a slippery slope all the way down until you're either going to run the place until 1:30 in the morning.
Cool the fans down, I don't understand the terminology either. You're going to be all confused.
The kitchen takes a certain amount of time to be cleaned up
I own
and
kitchens.
shut down.
I understand, but I mean, you can shut them off at 12, you can shut them off at 2 o'clock. I mean, I just don't understand the terminology again.
Any other questions from the board? We're going to wrap up discussion. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to support the Waterfront Cafe at 450 Commercial Street. Rocco Zagarella, owner of the Waterfront Cafe, is seeking to increase the official capacity of the establishment and to remove the restriction of alcohol with the service of food only on the license. There are no changes proposed other than that, and except for the capacity. Too. We're voting on both of them, correct?
No, we're going to do 2 votes.
Oh, okay. Then just that, the alcohol restriction.
So we're just voting on the alcohol restriction in food. All in favor?
Oh, we didn't second.
I'm sorry, second, okay, 1 second.
I'll second the motion to remove the restriction.
All in favor? Any opposed? 2 to 6, okay. Now, you want to restate the motion for the zoning change, the number change?
So I'm making another motion. I'd like to make a motion to support the Waterfront Cafe, 450 Commercial Street. Rocco Zaccarello, owner of the Waterfront Cafe, is seeking to increase his capacity from 49 seats to 49 people to 83 people.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? So that passes. Okay, so we're gonna vote, get another motion on the first part and the opposite. So we wanna make a motion to oppose the. All right.
So we oppose the food thing.
We oppose the food thing and we support the fixed capacity. Thank you. Monica Strutteria, 69 Prince Street.
We're all here representing this gentleman who I've listened to for a while, George Mendoza. The Mendoza family has several businesses in the neighborhood. We're here to talk about the company which is on Prince, which has been here for 20 plus years, started as a sandwich shop, evolved into a restaurant, and had been next door to a series of other restaurants. The current location is at 67. We're talking now about 69, which had been the site originally of Sage Restaurant. After Sage Restaurant left, the Grezzo Restaurant moved in. After Grezzo moved out, Il Triunfo moved in. It's been vacant. George and his family's put it under agreement so that they can expand the trattoria next door into the space. So the restaurant is, the space rather has been restaurant use. Venture to guess, it's probably as back as I can remember, maybe 25 or 30 years ago. Sage started there, and there was a restaurant previous to Sage. The Sage had the longest run. George is doing two things. One is it's an expansion of premises for the purpose of the licensing board. So he will be going to the licensing board for that. We do not have a date as of yet. The expansion will result in a restaurant having 49 seats, and the basement will be used for a series of things, which will be storage and prep, and additional bathrooms will be in the basement. There'll be one handicap bathroom on the first floor of the restaurant, and the entire kitchen will be redone. It'll be open kitchen in the back and expand both addresses, 67 and 69. He received last week notice that there was no record of occupancy from the basement of the new space, the 69 space, meaning that even though it was used by the prior restaurants, they never listed it as part of their restaurant. So he has to go to the Board of Appeal to have the basement of 69 treated as a restaurant. That's a conditional use there for restaurant space. We don't have a date for that as well as of yet. But we're here for the two purposes: one zoning and the other one licensing.
Questions from the board?
George, what kind of construction time do you anticipate?
About 3 months. We would hope to, if the process takes place, to start, close the restaurant on December 31st, start January 1st, and bring completion sometime in March. What we're looking to do is we're looking to grab a piece of property that's been two restaurants. It's one address, so 69, 67 Prince Street is one address. 69 Prince Street is the address for the property, 67 Prince Street is the address of Monica's. Monica's had an address. It had been a restaurant there for many, many years. For those who remember that far, Johnny the Jeep used to make burgers and hot dogs there before Prince roast beef made roast beef, and before Monica's made Monica's. Prior to that was the Mayo Pizza, owned by the Petroni family. Then became Sage Restaurant, owned by the same owners. Sage Restaurant sold to Anthony Sushi, all neighborhood people. They all run the restaurant parallel to us. They had that basement there for many years before us. What we're looking to do is we're looking to bring the property up to code. We're looking to provide to meet the code that the city is demanding, to use the licenses in the way that the city dictates, and so forth. The same in the same fashion that we do at the other two locations.
There's no change in proposed change in restaurant operation, meaning this restaurant closes at 11 weekdays and midnight on the weekend.
Okay. Just as a clarification on the plan that you've handed out, it says existing basement floor plan. Is that the plan? You're not making changes to this floor plan. You just want to add it as part of the zoning for that.
What's happening is that it operated as two separate restaurants. It's in one building, separated by an entry and a hallway in the middle that leads to the apartments. If you were facing it on the left-hand side, had been the various restaurants that I mentioned. Sage is the one that's best known in the neighborhood. They use both the ground floor and the basement. The records of the city do not reflect that. Even though I checked the licensing board and the licenses all included the reference of storage in the basement. So it was clear that they referenced it for the license, but they never referenced it for the building department. So that has to be now declared part of the restaurant, even though it hadn't been, if that makes any sense to you.
This is what George is saying, bringing it up to code.
Well, part of bringing it up to code is once he does the work, he has to increase the capacity for the bathrooms, he has to make them handicap accessible and so on.
The occupancy, both establishments had an occupancy of 18 seats. So each establishment has the requirements of occupancy for 18 seats. So each establishment has the bathrooms, the ventilation, the egresses, the entrances. It's one building, you know, and there are no firewalls. It's a continuous building. It's a U-shaped building. Somewhere along the way, they split it up into two stores. You can have two stores. You can have two apartments. You can have whatever you wanted to. I think the issue is you're looking back 25, 30 years. Either the city doesn't have the records anymore, or the records were not put in right, or the records at the licensing board with the license. God knows what the issue is. You know, one of the things that we talked about bringing over to the meeting with the city is affidavits from the previous owners. There are legitimate families that still own businesses that are from the neighborhood that own the premises, and they can describe what the premises had. It's a simple transaction. You know, it would be 36 seats under the conditions they're in right now, with the bathrooms they have right now. We'd like to bring it up to up-to-date code, and includes the bathrooms that we are proposing, plus a handicap bathroom, plus handicap accessibility, plus the proper exiting, plus an upgraded hood system. We meet code for what we have right now, but it would be just a slightly larger kitchen. The establishment itself is 12 feet wide, a horseshoe all the way around the stairway of the restaurant. So although we're increasing in space, after we bring the combination of both spaces up to code to meet the requirements of the people sitting in the establishment, it's a restaurant with 49 seats.
Any changes to like the venting going upstairs or?
No, the proposed drawings from the engineer are an expansion of the hood and two chimneys, two fans that will work in tandem. The existing chimney, that is 24 by 24 inches all the way up to the roof, will return air, and we make up air, what's called make up air in the industry, and the second 24 by 24 chimney that will go up to the roof, which is, you know, quite safe in the sense that you always have a fan that works if anything does happen. You know, pencil system, you know, 90 gallon grease trap, all the things that will be required for a restaurant that size. Sprinklers are of question, but not depending on whether or not the basement has an egress to the street, but not for the dining room, just for the basement. The basement has an egress to the backyard. We'll have to bring it up to code. So if that's the case, that would be enough for the, to meet cook.
Joe,
Yes?
just two questions quick. The number 6, the pizza oven, that's just like, is that like outside of the building, or is it?
I think that's a clerical error on the side of the architect. We are looking at maybe putting a small oven where my brother can make pizzas, which are small appetizer pizzas, and maybe roast some meats like we do at the Vinateca. The Vinateca, we have a 36-inch by 36 oven.
Oh, okay, I just did it because it's like in the middle
Yeah,
of
well,
nowhere.
we bake our bread, we bake all our bread, so we bake our bread in it, and we also use it at night for cooking, and it goes up to temperatures of 600 degrees. So you can put in a rack of lamb and you can make great products and help it right, so.
And then the counter that's on the right side, that's a dining counter, or is that just?
That's kind of a standing counter. Some people might be a little weight there, maybe 3 or 4 people. And it's a counter where you may have, perhaps, huh?
No seats, because it's not a focus.
There's no, if you look at the drawings, if
Yeah.
you look at what it is, if you know, it looks larger on paper than it really is. It's actually 12 to 11 feet in width, each one of the spaces, and they connect in the back. All right. There's a stairway that goes to the basement that was in a common space that both restaurants share. That will become part of the restaurant. And the kitchen, the way the kitchen is right now, the handicap bathroom goes in that corner of the building because of reality of the bathroom. The handicap bathroom is 7 by 7. We cannot put a handicap bathroom in the dining room because there won't be enough room to walk by. You know, proper space for access. So that will be in the corner, and then from that corner over, there will be just an open kitchen like we have in the other restaurant on Richmond Street, and there's an egress to the back. The restaurant will have 2 egresses from the front of the restaurant out, one on each side of each dining room if you wish. There will be an egress from the space to the main lobby, to the street. There will be an egress to the backyard, and there will be an egress from the basement out to the backyard. And from the
Yeah, no, I
basement
just
to
want to be sure it
the
was like high tops or something.
Do you have any plans to do anything with the sign outside and the lighting, or?
We're kind of looking, I don't know if you've seen the Mercato, we're kind of looking at something of that nature, or perhaps the same sign that we have. You know, we're hoping to, you know, as part of, you know, what we've done on Salem Street, to do a similar thing with the facade on Prince Street, since both of them are kitty corner around, so when you walk in, you see one because you catch your eye and you see another one. And we find that that look gives it a clean, modern look, but it retains the character of the neighborhood by showcasing what's inside, kind of like a fishbowl kind of scenario. So you're looking at, as you look at the market, a neighborhood that has the Italian appeal, and we're looking to, since it's a trattoria and Italian restaurant, looking to use the same idea.
Is it going to be similar open air seating on the other side too, or casement windows?
The windows are going to be both ends of the windows are going to open up. The likelihood is that they are very much like the windows that we have on 67 Green Street now, which is what we're all using now. It's the metal aluminum window with the glass. They seem to stand the best to the weather. You know, they'll be closed at 11 o'clock, like is dictated by licensing, and so forth.
Any other questions from the board? Any butters? Any general comments from the audience?
Yeah, good. What kind of liquor license is that?
We have a beer and wine license with cordials.
Are you transferring it? Or
No, we have, it would be expansion of
Expansion
premises.
of premises as well.
So,
And they used to have takeout?
we don't have takeout. We do have what is called occasional takeout. So all restaurants have the occasion of send something out, but we do not have the practice of selling takeout. We do sell, you know, an occasional takeout for somebody who wants it. As we do in every restaurant, somebody calls you up, they want you to pack some food for them, you send it over, but it's not a, you know, we're not equipped for it in one of the establishments. You know, we have the same restrictions that everybody has in the license as an open restaurant. We can't serve alcohol without food. The same thing for cordials, and we stick to what the guidelines are.
Any violations, sir?
We haven't had a violation.
Are you going to have the gooseneck lamps? Like, you know?
The likelihood is what I'll have a very similar look to what we have across the streets.
Any neon or anything?
No. You know, like I said, we are very much pleased with the reaction the neighborhoods had to the market and how people have, you know, I think that one of the things about the North End is that people here came to the North End for a certain thing, and I think we're starting to erode at it over time. And people like to see the old-fashioned Italian-American storefronts and that sort of thing. That's what we went for at the market. It reminded me and my brothers of what we saw as we first walked in the streets of the North End with the butcher shops, this and that. If you look at it, it looks a lot like a butcher shop. Well, that happened to be a butcher shop. That was a butcher shop in that corner 8 years ago. So we grabbed onto that, the character of that, and we went with that. It's a salumeria, which is almost a type of a meat department store, if you wish. We sell prepared foods and beer and wine. And again, we like North End the way North End was, and we like to bring a little bit back over.
We did have an abutters meeting.
We did have an abutters meeting.
Last week, and a couple of residents showed up. Freeway was there. Not a lot of opposition at all, nothing. It was a good conversation. Jim was there.
I mean, we're very proud to be part of the community. We are adopted children of this neighborhood, and we, over the years, we've done everything possible to give back to the place that's been so good to us.
There's no more questions on the council. Somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, just a suggestion on the motion. I think the numbers are reversed in the second line of the description. You're expanding from the lower number to the higher number.
Just word 67 existing, 69 being the old same.
69 is the building address.
It's the new.
And 67 is not the building address? 67. Okay, but
You go down the street, that's what numbers go up.
All right, well, I make a motion to approve the correct 67 to 69 designation, whatever it would be, to expand Monica Strateria at, again, 69, 67 Prince Street into the other space. Apply to the Boston Licensing Board to amend description of the premises as follows: 67 Prince Street in one room on the first floor with kitchen and storage in the rear to 67 through 69 Prince Street in 2 rooms with kitchens on the first floor, prep kitchen and storage in the basement. And to change the, okay, then I'll stop at that.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Any opposed? Passes. No second.
So to continue, I'll just make a separate motion then to support the change of the DBA from Monica's Pizzeria to Monica's Trattoria.
Right.
All in favor? Any opposed? Both pass.
Thank you.
Next up, Melina DePaula, 420 Commercial Street.
For the purposes of the hearing, again, Bill Perillo, to my right is Melina DePaula, who's the proposed owner-operator of the new business at the very end of Hanover Street, and carries an address of 420 Commercial. Had been a service station, gas station for many, many years. The owners of the property here in the room, Adam Griffin, Joe Carrigal. The most recent use of the premises has been from a Segway operation that left some months ago, and we are proposing what the zoning refers to as a fitness center, which is really a spin studio and a juicery. Melina has operated a juice making business, which is a health juice business that she wants to incorporate into the spin studio, fitness center. You have before you request that allows for a couple of things. The zoning area there is a multi-family residential / neighborhood service district. A use for a fitness center there is conditional, and the use for takeout, which I will explain in more detail, is also conditional. We would mention, as had been mentioned in prior meetings, some time ago, the second floor of the building was converted to office space, which is used by the family to operate their real estate business. The zoning was done, but the file was never changed, so part of the request is to include the office space on the second floor in the description. It's not part of Melina's operation will continue to be part of the family business for the operation of the real estate, mostly in the North End. We don't have a date as of yet at Board of Appeal. We've had a meeting on site with our abutters. We will talk to you more about how this place will operate. The issue of conditional use is whether the use of this site for what we're proposing, the fitness center, spin studio, and juicery, would interfere with the operation of the neighborhood, would be an appropriate site for it, etc. We believe it is. Met with the abutters to let them know that what this place will do is they will have spin classes starting somewhere about 6 o'clock in the morning, running to 9 o'clock in the evening. Spin classes are conducted by an instructor. When we had the meeting on site, showed that the entire facility will be soundproof because they do use a speaker system to give instructions to people while they're taking the classes. We have also mentioned that initially we're leaving that roll-up door in the front so that during the summer they may open the door to the front, but we've also told our neighbors in the adjoining buildings that if that's any issue whatsoever in terms of noise or anything else, we will do it. We intend to conduct this business in such a way that we are not using the outside of the premises, which used to be where the gas pumps are or where cars park. That's not part of the leased premises, so we're not occupying that space, we're occupying the interior space. We believe that this is something new for the neighborhood, that it'll be well received in the neighborhood. Melina has a background in this, in the fitness area and the juice area. And again, we think it's going to be well received. And we think we're trying to accommodate any and all of the issues of the abutters in terms of hours and noise and how this will operate. To speak about the takeout, it's not a restaurant. Victor and I always talk about that the words takeout appear in the restaurant section of the code, but as I've indicated, it also applies to grocery stores, any other type of business where if you prepare something to be consumed, be it liquid or foods, the city requires you to have takeout zoning to do that. And what comes with the takeout zoning are restrictions, first of which is that the zoning that they give you is limited to this operator only. So you can't change the operation, you can't sell it to somebody who decides that they're going to do sandwiches instead of juice without going back to the zoning or back to the community. There are additional restrictions about trash removal, the labeling of any products that you sell, meaning your napkins, your bags, your products have to have your logo on it, so that the city makes a determination if your product is showing up in the trash and you're not doing the right thing about controlling trash. So it's a rough description of the moment. As I'm saying is that I think we've tried to answer as many questions in that area for the buildings that are there, and that's where we will be in terms of, as I say, the type of the operation and what's involved with this. For that will answer questions.
So is there any plans for the facade of the building so I can constantly
Much.
questions?
They intend to use this an old called the gas station sign that had been there on the building, and they're going to reuse that as part of the sign. It won't be, once again, it won't be neon. It probably won't be backlit. It may be lights onto it to see. Has anyone come up with a design, Joe?
It's going to be a very simple design. It's not going to be crazy lighting or anything like that.
Did the lighting used to hang off it in some way?
there's a street light, for lack of a better description, abutting it. So if the street light is on, driving, shining down the driveway, you'll get some illumination on the sign.
Is the Segway sign going down?
No, we're gonna keep the Segway sign as ornamental.
Like 108 Richmond. I just have a quick question, because, you know, anything with the fitness industry, the hours can be kind of crazy, because people want to start it, you know, very early in the morning, sometimes they want to come in after work. You know, the Nazaro, the gym here, I think is open until 9. So are you going to be like selling, I mean, how are you, I guess, are you running as usury at 5 in the morning along with the early spin classes, or?
It's going to be basically, well, first of all, I can tell you some of the better hours than a restaurant will be. And it'll probably be pretty resident friendly in that most people, if they have a normal work schedule, will probably be awake around or slightly after the time we start running classes, so around 6:30 a.m. And then the final class ending probably before 9 p.m. So it's pretty confined, and even if it's, you know, early to some people, again, that soundproofing takes care of it. So yeah, it's really not an issue.
Is that going to be parking, or are we not
No.
going to use?
We don't use, none of the parking will be fine. It's going to stay with the
So we still use the parking then?
Yes, that's correct.
But not for our purposes.
Not for us, yeah.
Anything in addition to a juice, like coffee or?
Well, the idea might be supplements, you know,
Yeah,
powders
anything.
and vitamins. And
Anything consumable that's not like, again, I'm not going to veer down the, you know, road of sandwiches and stuff like that. Like, cooking's not my thing. It's more just like the health and focus product. So smoothie juice.
Kind of things to have after or before your workout?
Yep,
What you take
pre-workout,
before you
post-workout,
after your workout, yeah.
supplemental nutrition.
And the workout itself is you coach a group of people
Yeah.
to an exercise routine where you challenge them to, well, that very much could be kind of a road race type of scenario, that
Could be, you know, some rides mimicking like an actual road ride, and then just some that are a little bit more choreographed, stuff like that.
In terms of the offerings, is that just spinning, or is it going to be other classes too?
We're probably going to implement a couple other to do some hybrid workouts. So, you know, some kettlebells, some other like little equipment, but the mainstay, the main focus is going to be the supplement.
Any questions?
We did have the butters meeting, and there was no opposition. Most of the residents that were at the meeting.
Can I ask a question? How do you sell the program? Do you sell a monthly program? Do you sell it by classes?
I mean, it really varies, like, depending on from the launching point, then a couple months down the road, we might vary it. So, you can do class packs, so like 10-pack of classes, we come up to a certain amount, which decreases the price per class. Or there are other things down the road that I would implement, such as a monthly membership, monthly unlimited, stuff like that.
Any questions from the audience, any abutters here?
I'm D'Amico, 454 Hanover Street. I just wanted to voice my support to Melina and her business venture, wish her a lot of luck with it. It'll be a great addition to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I think it's a perfect venture.
What's your name? Where you from?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Catherine Angelo. I live on 382 North Street. I think it's an awesome idea.
Thank
The
you.
utilization space.
Make a motion to support change of occupancy of 420 Commercial Street from garage to fitness center and juicery takeout license.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Any opposed? We'll pass this.
Thank you.
Good luck. Finance from the North Pedestrian School. Coach. Everybody's attention, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Can we have it in Spanish?
What?
Can we have it in Spanish?
You can have it in Spanish when you give me my stuff.
All right.
You owe me a stuff, because I got a building permit, occupancy permit.
Before I,
Did you even get one?
I bought it, yes, of course. Did you get a sandwich? I can get you a sandwich.
Yeah, that's what we got. We were building, I was doing the school, and George was doing the
But he beat me, he had a $14 million budget, guys. I had a right? So that's not an issue.
Thank you very much. I'm here just to check in, and the reason I'm here to check in is because since we moved to North Street, and
And the only way we moved to North Street was because we had neighborhood supports. We've been involved with the third piece of the building, which is called 128 North Street. Our building supplies the water for the state-owned building, and we supply the fire alarm service and the sprinkler. So that we've been intimately connected. The two buildings were built together, and we still supply at no cost to anybody the sprinklers and water, and we monitor the fire alarm, just because that's the way the system was. And we've been working pretty closely with the state. And I've been saying to them, you know, no problem. We'd like to expand into your building if you ever want to stop using it. And the plan isn't set. There's no date. There's no plan for that state to sell it or dispose of it in any way. But I think they're going to. And what I'm here to do is just say, I'd like to have the support of this group. If we were to make a proposal for the building, it would have to be a public process. It would be a bid, a high bidder or something like that. I don't know what it would be, but it wouldn't be anything that was without a sort of a review and comment period. But I'd like to sort of warm you up and warm you to the idea that we could really use that space. It's a tiny little building, and it's only 5,000 square feet. So it has no elevator, it has no, a lot of things that we supply it doesn't need. But on the other hand, someone with $1 jillion could buy it and do something different. And we're not and never have been in that league financially. So I don't know whether we want to turn down the lights a little bit or just, can anybody see it? No. You're right.
The far one is the way
Perfect. I just put a couple slides. You can just press. So here's the site. If you've got your binoculars, you can see this. The three buildings: the printing plant and the police station, and what's called the East Boston Traffic Tunnel Administration Building, were built in 1932 along with the tunnel. And you can see in the structural drawings here how they were all built together. So they're all of a piece. Next. These are the two buildings, obviously, that we purchased from the city, and this is a before shot. This was the plan that we proposed to the city and to you folks, I believe. We were filling in the space between the two buildings, connecting the two buildings, and that became a public space, an exhibition space. Next. So there's the before of that space, and there's probably an after, I hope. There's the after. It's nothing that you haven't been familiar with, but we had an open house last November after we started school, and hopefully some of you were able to come. There'll be another open house this November, and you're welcome to tour, go through the entire school if you want. What's next? So here's just a picture of the before. This was taken during the pre-bid conference when all of the developers and the school were walking around taking notes, and then that same space afterwards is now Cadden Furniture Shop. So that's where our furniture makers is trained. What else do we have? This is the common space, that space between the two buildings. It's used for public functions, for our meeting spaces. We had the first day of school there. There's currently there's an exhibition of fine book bindings from France on the back of that space. We've had concerts, NEWNC has had concerts, and we hope to use it more and more as we move into the building. So this is just a couple more views of the new space. You might as well just flip through it slowly. I can barely see backwards, but this looks like preservation carpentry. And what's the next? I can't tell. I need to get out from behind it. That's jewelry making. And that's our carpentry program, which we're hoping to expand. That's the one program that we, as a part of the expansion to 150, we created a full scholarship for a resident of Boston with preference for a graduate of the Elliott K-8 school. So, and we've had, we're on our second Boston resident on a full scholarship. There's violin making. And you can see that it looks like we've been in this building forever. It's a perfect match for us. Book binding. piano technology. This is back to cabinet furniture making. And then in the basement of the police station now, we run a middle school program. We've expanded the program from the Elliott School to include St. John and Charlestown, the Edwards School in Charlestown. And we're working now to expand not only carpentry for kids, but bookbinding, so they go and make books. There's our open house in 2013, but we'll have a same date for 2014. Everyone's invited. And a little bit of our lecture series, those two folks on the left are the curators from the MFA that talked about craft and bookbinding and violin making. That's a picture of one of our exhibitions, and then that's the current exhibit with the bookbinding findings from France. And the first floor has a gallery and a shop that's open to the public. And then we've just finished this week the largest solar collector system in downtown Boston, except for the one that's on the Tim O'Neill building. And it's the largest nonprofit to do anything along this scale. It's a 50 kW system, and we're going to hope to have the mayor and maybe the president of NSTAR come and bless it in about a month when we turn it on. It's not turned on yet because NSTAR hasn't accepted us as a supplier of electricity. But so there's the last piece. All of the above slides were just hopefully to convince you that we've been contributing to the neighborhood, and we've been working hard at it for many, many years. If we were to get this building, I think it's pretty cut up into little rooms, so we'd probably move some of the administrative spaces into it and free up space in the printing plant, which is now offices for more program spaces, more training spaces. So that's it. I don't know, at some point, I'd love to have a vote of the association, but perhaps it's a little premature at this point.
Premature, but
yeah, just to say thank you for your past support. And
May I say something real quick? First of all, I hope everybody is on board on how proud we are to have the North Elementary School on Richmond and North. It's a huge institution. Higher education in North End is huge. I have my neighbors across the street. It's a pleasure to look across the window and see people doing timber framing, making furniture, making violins. It's just considering to what was taking place in that government run building before, which was nothing in comparison. It's great to see. It's definitely an asset to the community, and I'm very proud of you guys. I think it's great, and what you've done with it is amazing.
Well, needless to say, we're beyond thrilled to be here, and there's no other school of craft like this in the country, much less one in a major metropolitan area. If there were to be a craft school, it would be out in the country someplace. So it says a lot for the North End and for the city to have people like us so close to the center of everything.
And the quality, and the school is considered one of the best violin making schools in the country and the world. So we have something really, really special on North End Richmond, and we should be extremely proud of it. On top of the fact that they have been helping the community since they were first established on North Bennett Street, where they taught immigrants how to become laborers, how to be brick layers, how to be carpenters. So they helped enormously the foundation of our Italian American community, and now they are helping the next generation of North Enders, perhaps, to will have such a wonderful thing. So it's really well done work.
Thanks for your Thank you for our meeting. Everybody remember there's a fireworks tomorrow, so go vote.